Alright, so we come to it at last. The final Q&A of the night, and that is my Wander Over Yonder Q&A. I decided to just fire all of them all out because I made you guys wait so long for the Daredevil Q&A. I decided, you know what? As a token of my appreciation for you guys waiting so long, here's all three. So, yeah. As always, if I did not answer someone's question, that usually means it didn't get put on the list at all or got marked as spam by YouTube, so I apologize in advance for that. Anyway, let's kick things off with Darth Venom, who asked, Wander and Sylvia went into the world of Dr. Seuss. What hijinks would ensue? Honestly, they look like characters right out of a Dr. Seuss novel, don't they? They really do. I would love to see Wander hang out with the Grinch. Oh, man, that would be something to behold. Second question. What is your reaction when you found out that Lord Dominator was a girl? I kind of feel like it's kind of like that reveal when you find out that Samus from Metroid was a woman. When you find out that big reveal, it's like they Samus'd us. And it was like, oh, it's a girl. Nicely drawn girl. Oh man, Rule 34, 4chan's gonna have a field day with you. Anyway, third question. Lord Hater and Commander Peepers meet Starscream and Megatron. What happens? I think Megatron and Lord Hater would try to, out-hate one another, while Starscream and Lord Peepers are like, do I know you? Because if you guys don't know, Tom Kenny, the voice of Commander Peepers, was he was the voice actor for also Starscream in the Transformers animated series. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for those questions. Shank X asks, do you think Dominator has destroyed other galaxies? Yeah, probably. She kind of has referenced that she's blown up other galaxies for the hell of it, so that's a strong possibility. Second question, do you think she should have a sad backstory, or would that ruin her character? I don't think she needs a sad backstory. I would like a backstory before the show's over. I would like, because this is the second season's the last season, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But I honestly would like a backstory of like she's always been this way. She's always just been nuts. Like kind of like what Alfred said about the Joker. Some men aren't looking for anything logical; they just want to watch the world burn, or in Dominator's case, the galaxy burn. But I would not be surprised by this show because they know how to sneak in morals and very sad moments. You guys remember The Bot? You guys remember that episode? And there's been a few others where they can easily sneak in, those kind of hallmark moments, so to speak, and and make it feel like it's fluid and doesn't hit you over the head with it. So I think they'll just say that Dominator's always been this way. But I'd be okay if they as long as they made this backstory like, oh, that's why she wants to destroy galaxies and why she's the way she is. But I'd be more okay with, yeah, you're just crazy. Who do you think is stronger out of Hater and Dominator? Dominator, she's proven that she's stronger. Hater just got one hit on her, but then, now she has ice powers now, so I'm going to give it to Dominator. So, thank you for those questions, Shank X. Moving on now to Andrew Varney, who asks, Lord Hater ends up in Ponyville and meets Discord. What happens? Discord has a field day pissing off Lord Hater. Could you just imagine all this shit he would do to poor Hater? You would just have a field day all day, just like, oh, Skeletor! Anyway. Second question. Wander and Sylvia meet the following. The 10th Doctor, the Paternoster Gang, Jenny, Vastra, and Strax. The cast from Big Hero 6, the Stormhawks, Stephen and Connie, Isabel, Phineas and Isabella, and for sheer laughs, Abridged Nappa. What are the reactions from each side? I think the collective would be, oh boy, new friends! And I think the Doctor and Wander would be... I think they'd get along very well the most. Oh, man. But I'd love to see Junko and Sylvia, arm wrestle. That would be hilarious. Third question. What kind of shenanigans might go down if Lord Hater teamed up with the following villains? Doofenshmirtz, Draken, Ice King, Jack Spicer, Bill, 80 Skeletor, and Orochimaru. I think Bill, Orochimaru, and even Skeletor would be like, yeah, we ain't hooking up with you guys. We're going solo. So the team would consist of Draken, Doofenshmirtz, Ice King, and Spicer, and they would get nothing done because they'd all be either scheming to be the greatest in the galaxy, or too stupid to figure out how their machines work. So think of those questions, Andrew. Moving on now to Nicholas Harley, who asks, how would Vader and his Wander? Why did I say Vader? Wander and his friends react to Vegeta's sacrifice against Majin Buu. There'd be tears, just tears all across the field. They would all just be bawling their friggin' eyes out constantly. Second question: Steven Universe and Wander Over Yonder crossover. How would you do it? I would have it that Dominator, a long time ago, Dominator attempted to. Dominator attempted to take over she attempted to hollow out the Gem Homeworld, but was fought off, and now she's like, "Oh, well, I'm back, bitches! I'm gonna steal all your Volcanium X, aka your lava from your planet, and watch it die. How do you like that, fuckers? I bet you don't." So, the only person who managed to stop her was Rose, but Rose is gone, so now they gotta be like, "Hey, guys, sorry for trying to kill you, but there's an evil green bitch trying to blow up our planet. Could you stop her by any chance?" Anyway, third question. How would Wander and Sylvia react to Roger from American Dad, Homeworld Gems from Steven Universe, the Xenomorphs from Alien Franchise, Frieza's Army? Frieza's Army, Wander would annoy to no end. Roger, they'd be like, "Even I think you're a jerk." And the Homeworld Gems, like I said, I think Amethyst and Sylvia would hit it off, and Wander and Steven would be BFFs. Oh wait, that's Homeworld Gems. Why did I think of Steve? The Homeworld Gems, I think Jasper would get completely annoyed by Wander, and Peridot would be a punching bag for Sylvia. Why did I think the other gems? Never mind. So moving on now to Alexander Anayas, who asks, who is the funniest character of the show? You think it's Hater? I also agree it's Hater. Hater and Peepers, because they go hand in hand. Hater, I think, more so because his actions are hilarious, especially this season. Like when he makes the Hate RV, and it's broadcast like an actual '80s action figure set, and I was like, I want that toy. I know it's fake, but I want that toy. One of my favorite moments is like when Hater finds out that Dominator tries to kill Emperor Awesome. She's like, even that idiot Hater isn't this stupid, and he's like, she knows my name, sir. She called you an idiot whose name she knows. So I love that. Second question. Second question. Wander tries to befriend Darth Vader. What happens? Wander gets choked out. Third question. Wander is hunted by the Predator. How would that play out? I think Sylvia would be working overtime trying to watch for any certain triangle showing up. But I don't know why they would hunt Wander. I don't think they would think Wander is a valuable, a trophy to them. Moving right along to Jason. Thank you for those questions, Alex. Moving on now to Jason Voorhees 2011, who asks, what would Lord Dominator and Darkseid think of each other, and would Darkseid make her into a female Fury? I think Lord Dominator and Darkseid would have like similar goals, and the destruction of all life in the galaxy. And I think he would try to make her into a female Fury, but Dominator ain't exactly the most easiest person to control. Second question. What would Wander and Sylvia think of Star and Marco? Oh, that'd be adorable. Like, Star and Wander would be the best of friends, and Wander and Sylvia and Marco would be like, oh, we gotta keep up with both of them now. And then I think it'd even be adorable, like Wander would be like, aw, isn't young love adorable? No, we're not together. We're not, maybe we are together. Shut up. Third question. Lord Hader and Peepers team up with Zim and Gur. What shenanigans ensue? Oh boy, what shenanigans don't ensue is the better question. Like, Gur would keep destroying everything. Hader and Zim would just not get along, and Peepers would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. That seems like the logical option here. That seems like the safe way out is that I just put a laser to my head and pull the trigger. That's all I can do." So, thank you for those questions, Jason. Moving on now to Grod Hanks, who asks, if you could meet one of the characters from the show, who would it be and what would you talk about? I'd like to just talk with Peepers and be like, why are you so loyal? Seriously, Peepers, you should be running the show. Come on, dude. You're smarter than Hader. You're smarter. You lead the troops better. You're a better leader to the Watchdogs. And half the time, I don't even think you like Hader. Why do you keep serving him? You should be Lord Peepers. Come on, dude. Ugh. Anyway. So, there you go. Lord Peeper. Hashtag Lord Peepers. Second question. Which Disney films do you think are the main characters' favorites? I would say Wander, it would be Aladdin. Yeah, Aladdin, Atlantis, maybe some real feel-good movies like Pocahontas and Snow White, and if you like those. Sylvia, she'd be the more action one. Again, I think Aladdin would also be on hers. I think, like, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, I'm trying to think of what others. Hunchback of Notre Dame, those. Hader would be secretly watching Frozen after he watches The Black Cauldron and be like, Daddy! He would think the Horned King's his father. But no, he'd be singing, let it go, let it go. Sir, what are you doing? Don't come in, don't come in. And Dominator. Oh, Dominator's a tough one. I think like she'd be into like the Disney princesses movies. Like she'd be watching like The Little Mermaid when no one's around looking. She'd be like, nobody watching? Okay. Gonna turn on me some Little Mermaid. Watch some Tarzan as well. That'd also be on Sylvia's. Also Hunchback of Notre Dame, because I just imagine Dominator would be singing Hellfire for no reason other than fire. So, yeah. Third question. What do you think Wander's reaction would be to Earth? Well, I think he'd think Tumblr is a horrible... I would hate to see Wander discover 4chan. I really would. I would hate to see Wander discover 4chan because his faith in the galaxy would just break instantly. Like, it would just be like, done. And, yeah. 4chan is quintessentially, like, one of my friends once commented saying, 4chan is the Mos Eisley of the internet. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. I don't really go on 4chan. I think I've been there once, and I just didn't click with me. I don't hate it. I just was like, it's 4chan, whatever. But yeah, if Wander went to 4chan, it would be done. I think he would also. I would love to see like Wander set up a blog, like Wander's blog, and be like, "Hi everybody, and why does everyone hate my opinion?" And he would just be like, "I'm done with you people" by the end of the whole experience. He'd just be like, "I'm done. I'm done. This is bullshit." Ugh. Ugh. Oh man. Yeah. Where was I going? I've totally lost my train of thought. My bad. Yeah, Wander would be done with Earth. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I just lost my total train of thought. My bad. Okay. CH Crusher asks, what is your favorite Wander Over Yonder episode? Mine would have to be the cartoon. It is just sheer brilliance of how it doesn't really make fun of animation. It makes all these fun animation jabs and how the animation system works. It makes a great joke to BronyCon. It has John Hamm as Hater from the cartoon version of Hater that's made in the vein of of 80s Skeletor. I love it, and the best part, you knew I was going to bring this up. If you've seen the episode, then you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm going to bring up. The part where Lord Dominator at the end of the episode turns on the Mystery Kids Mystery Hour, and it's a parody of Jetsons and Scooby-Doo with Gravity Falls, and it has Jason Ritter, Christian Skull, and Alex Hirsch all playing different roles, and you even have... they don't really say much except Alex Hirsch, who goes, "Ugh, driving, mysteries," and Seuss as a dog going, "Woof woof, I'm a dog, dudes." My voice is going out. I can do a better Seuss than that, but my voice is going out. But no, that episode is sheer brilliance. I love it. Second question. What makes Lord Dominator an awesome villain in your opinion? Personality, look, song, like you said, and just sheer power. She is OP as shit. Seriously. Anyway. So your third question is, do you think Wander Over Yonder is a better feel-good cartoon than MLP? I feel like that's what Wander Over Yonder was always meant to be, whereas My Little Pony was meant to be like a show for girls that eventually became a feel-good show, and a few other things in between. I feel like this Wander Over Yonder, that's what it was always meant to be, a fun, feel-good cartoon that really preached some morals, but it never got too preachy, you know what I mean? It never got to the point where it was so ungodly preachy. It was just so over the top. No one, you couldn't even like it really. Yeah, not to say MLP does that. They don't do that much, but they have done a few times where it's like, we get it, the moral. Anyway, but that's just my personal opinion. Sorry, I had to get some water. Alright, thank you for those questions. Moving on now to Matt Kaiser 08, who asks, Godzilla Wander Over Yonder crossover, how would you write it? That is a tricky one. That is a toughie. Maybe what I would do is have it that I don't think I'd have Godzilla in it, honestly. I don't think I would have Godzilla in the story itself. I think what I would do is have it that Lord Dominator has woken up Ghidorah and Gigan, and she's put them under her control to be like her enforcers, to be like, yeah, you deal with me, you deal with my robots, me, and my two kaiju. So Wander has to use the power of love, because that's a thing for him, to basically, stop Gigan and Ghidorah from destroying just a friendly planet. Alright, second question. Abridged Nappa in Wander Over Yonder universe, what happens? Vegeta? 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 Who's the little orange Muffet? Pokemon everywhere, Vegeta! Alright. So, yeah. There you go. Anyway, third question: if Lord Dominator was in death battle, what 9 characters would you have her go up against? I honestly don't think I can give you 9. I can give you a few. First and foremost, Master Cyclonus. Definitely, Master Cyclonus would be her opponent. Lord Dominator versus Master Cyclonus would be amazing. Both of them would be like evenly matched. It would be a brutal and bloody fight. Second character, Darth Maul. Darth Maul would be an interesting one. Maybe Lumara, Sith Lord from the previous AU who manipulated Jason Solo. Maybe her. Who else would be an interesting opponent for her? Mirage? Yeah, Mirage from the Aladdin series. There you go, Mirage from the Aladdin series. What are we now? 4, 5? I don't know. I don't know if I can think of any others. I can't. Sorry. But those are just a few right there, Matt Geyser. Moving on now to Fox Mulder. Hello, Mulder. Hello, Agent Mulder. So, first question is... Ash from Evil Dead meets Wander and Sylvia. What would he think of them? Oh, God, I landed in the Muppet universe. That would be his initial thought. He would be like, oh, God. Why couldn't I have been left in the Middle Ages? I got left with the fucking Muppets. Oh, man. That would be a interesting crossover. Could you imagine Deadite Hater or Deadite Peepers? I don't even want to imagine that. Alright, second question. If you were to compare characters from Over Yonder to Marvel and DC, who would it be? Oh, who would be who? Like, who would be compared? Well, Dominator's a lot like Darkseid, so she'd be him. Hater, I don't know about Hater. Wander, he's so optimistic, he's so nice, and just wants to do the right thing. And still, so they'd be Superman and Batman. That's the best I can think of them. Peepers, Desaad, I don't know. Anyway, third question. If someone rewrote the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and the characters were played by Disney XD characters, who would be who? Now, I wouldn't normally answer this question because it doesn't pertain to Wander Over Yonder, but I love the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. So, technically speaking, Wander Over Yonder is on Disney XD, so I guess it kind of pertains, and I'm only going to do this once because I love the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. It's not the most loved Coen Brothers movie, but whatever. I grew up with that movie. Shut up. So who would be the characters from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Remember, this is the only time I'm going to bend the rules slightly because I love this movie. Ulysses Everett McGill would be Dipper. Pete would be Wander. Wander would be Pete, and Delmar would be Wander, and Pete would be, Pete would be, Penn. Yeah, Pete would be Penn. Could you imagine those three characters singing Man of Constant Sorrow? Oh, that'd be great. I don't know who would be the other characters in the movie for the movie, but those three right there. Absolutely, Dipper, Wander, and Penn as Pete Everett and Delmar. Oh man. Anyway, staying with those questions, Fox. Moving on now to Athavan Rogingham, who asks, while wandering about, Wander meets Jack Sparrow from Samurai Jack and Vash from Trigun. I think he would be like, "Oh, howdy, fellas! Nice to meet you boys on this wonderful day. Have fun now." That would be it. Like he would just pass by and go like, "Hi," and just keep moseying on. Second question: what would the interactions be between them, and what do you picture them fighting? The teamed up forces of Dominator, Legato, and Aku. Oh, that'd be. Oh, it was all one question. Okay, I think like the interactions would be that they're all peaceful. Wander, Jack, and Vash are all really peaceful souls. They're really just really nice guys who want to do the right thing, and they really have some clouded, shady past behind them. And they just want to keep moving on forward with their lives, So they would just be, keep on rolling more or less, and they don't want to resort to violence, but they do, but they have to sometimes. Well, not so much Wander, but the other two do. And yeah, could they stop Legato, Aku, and Dominator? Oh, that'd be a terrifying fight. Anyway, save that question, Athavan. Moving on now to Xavier Ford, who asks, Lord Hater meets Darth Vader. What happens? And, yeah, Lord Hater's going to get force choked. Yeah, he's going to get force choked. And then Lord Hater crash lands into a Game of Thrones planet. What happens? They'd all think he's a White Walker and kill it and burn him. They would be like, White Walker! I'm burning, and not in a fun way. Why is there even a fun way of burning? Stupid internet. Anyway, so thank you for that question, Xavier. Those questions, Xavier Ford. Moving on now to Jackie Lee, who asks, did you think that Wander is smarter than he looks, or just flat out oblivious to what he's doing around, what is around him? Oh, that's a good question. Is Wander smarter than he looks? My thing is yes. I think he's a lot smarter than he looks, but he plays no one suspects the fool. It's kind of like how the Doctor was sometimes, especially, you could honestly compare Wander to to Tom Baker's Doctor. Full of mystery, and he plays the fool most of the time, but he knows what he's doing, and he's always going to be, he's always going to have your back. He's always going to protect you, but at the same time, he's like, would you like a jelly baby? He's the embodiment of what, yeah, he's the fourth Doctor. Where he's like, nonsense, what's the point of being grown up if you gotta be childish sometimes? And that's kind of what he is. He's a child, but, for all we know, Wander could be thousands of years old, and yeah, he does want, he doesn't want to do things violently right out, he doesn't want to do violent stuff right out the gate, but, sometimes he's just like, gotta blow up this ship. And, yeah, I think he does know what he's doing, and he doesn't like violence. And for all we know, he could have survived, he could have been like the Doctor in more ways than one, and survived some big intergalactic war that makes him the last of his kind. Who knows? Even Sylvia, his best friend, doesn't know much about Wander. So, what we have here is give him the scarf, the long scarf, and yeah, you've got yourself the Doctor. Anyway, so what else did I want to say about this? I think it is possible. I think he knows what he's doing, but again, like I said, no one suspects the fool. So yeah, I think he is smarter than he looks. Second question: have you ever thought of a new character who would join in with Wander and Sylvia's adventures before the show is canceled? I think Wander and Sylvia are enough as a team as it is. I don't think I would add a third character, because then it would just be like adding another character out of desperation. You just need Wander and Sylvia as as the two friends exploring the galaxy. I think that's really all you honestly need. But if I did have to pick, I don't think so. But here's what I would do, is basically what I just said. How wonderful of me. Anyway, so, what was I gonna say? I think what I would have as a third member is I guess maybe the straight man, someone like the double D of the group, where he'd be the smart one, and he'd be like, I don't think we should be doing this, Wander. But then again, Sylvia already does that, so you see what I'm saying? We already got the straight man, and that's Sylvia, really. So it kind of just defeats the purpose, doesn't it? Anyway, moving on now to the third question, and the third question is, what is the most terrifying monster that Wander and Sylvia have ever encountered? What's that one that was kind of like an alien parody? Yeah, that one. That one was no bueno. What else was another one? What was that huge hulking monster? I can't even remember some of these aliens' names. But I think the most terrifying monster is Dominator herself, where her actions make her monstrous enough. Trust me. Ugh. So anyway, thank you for those questions, Jackie Lee. Moving on now to Becky Love, who asks, all I have to ask is, got any punny ship names? No? Well, I have one, and it's a crossover ship. I got one, Becky, and it's a crossover ship. Toffinator. And not Toph with Dominator, Toffee, Toffee from Star vs. the Forces of Evil and Lord Dominator together. Yeah, that ship. And I'll be talking about that soon, trust me. But anyway, thank you for those questions, Becky. Let's see what the next questions are. Okay, so next set of questions come from Wolfman the Impaler, who asks, Lord Dominator is giving you the bedroom eyes. Do you hit that? As I've said multiple times, I don't really do the whole what I fucking animated character, but guys, come on, come on, dem legs, come on, dem legs, and do she got a booty? She do. I'm disgusted with myself. So I think I'd hit that harder than a tree on flying into a tree on Endor. Second question: Wander and Sylvia meet Goro from Mortal Kombat. What happens? I think poor Goro would want to kill himself. Like, this is worse than any fatality I've ever faced. No. Third question: Lord Hater versus Yamcha. Who wins? Yamcha dies for some reason, and Lord Hater, because even Lord Hater can beat Yamcha. It's Yamcha, dude. Come on. And Lord Hater can actually fight. Remember his fight with in the Battle Royale against Lord Dominator? Yeah, he can actually fight. Yamcha just given up training. Plus, he got beaten by a Cyberman, so yeah. God, it's fun to shit on Yamcha. All right. Second question. Jake these singular questions, Wolfman, by the way. And moving on now to Jake Gross, who asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, how immature would you rate Lord Dominator? Pretty immature, but I think there's some like terror behind her. So I think on the immature scale, she'd be a 6 at the most, because there's a lot of scariness to her as well, and she knows what she's doing. Second question: do you feel like Lord Hater and Commander Peepers have something of a symbiotic working relationship when it comes to doing evil? A little bit, but I think, like I've said before, Peepers, what the hell, dude? You should be Lord Peepers and he should be Commander Hater. Come on. I actually kind of want that to be this, like, when the season 2 ends, I kind of want it to be like, what it is like, Lord Hater steps down, and then we have Lord Peepers. Oh, man. Third question. What would you want the culture of Wander's people to be like? I think they would be like something, not necessarily like the Time Lords, but maybe something like the Jedi, where they're these they're these, they're not really knights of, they're not knights, they're not warriors, but what they are very peaceful. They have they kind of have like, they're at one with the galaxy, or were one with the galaxy. And for all we know, Wander could be the last of his kind, honestly. So that's kind of the thing where, I kind of imagine them as like these kind of like, I can't remember what those creatures were called, but if you've ever seen the Dark Crystal, Jin's foster family, those old creatures like that, they were very peaceful, they're solitary, and they're at one with the galaxy, kind of like. That's how it is. That's how I kind of see it. So, there you go. Thank you for those questions. Jake Gross, moving on now to Travis Rendon, who asks, have you ever heard the theory that Wander is actually super intelligent and that he just plays stupid everyone around him, including Sylvia? Yeah, I've already answered that question. Second question, do you think that Wander Over Yonder theme song is catchy and addictive to you and will be humming it till the next day? Kind of do that all the time when I hear the theme song. It's like, it's stuck in your head. Even now, when I'm doing the question, answering this question, the theme song's now playing in my head. Next question. Besides Gravity Falls, what other Disney animated cartoon from the early 90s till now would you like to see Wander cross over with? Star vs. the Forces of Evil, first and foremost. Those two, that just makes a lot of sense to see them. And then Pen Zero Part-Time Hero. Those are the two right there. So there you go. Thank you for those questions, Travis Rendon. Moving on now to Jerkwater100, who asks, what would Lord Dominator think of Beerus, Darth Nihilus, and King Ghidorah? I think King Ghidorah she'd want to make into a pet. Darth Nihilus would be like, I want your babies. And Beerus, I just imagine Lord Beerus and Dominator, I kind of just imagine Lord Beerus and Dominator sharing ice cream and making jokes as they blow up planets together. Not really dating, but more like they're just hanging out and just eating ice cream and all kinds of sweets and just laughing and having a gay old time. Second question. Do you think Wander Over Yonder is underrated? I hate to say it, but it is. And that's because I think Disney didn't really properly, showcase it right, It didn't, Disney XD is a satellite channel, and, that's where all the animated shows are. It was kind of doomed from the start, and then Disney actually, unlike Gravity Falls, where Alex Hirsch said, I want it to end after 2 seasons. But yeah, for those wondering, yeah, he did want to end it after 2 seasons, and Disney was like, okay. And that's the thing, like, Disney and Alex Hirsch are actually still on good terms. It's not like with some of them where they ended it very badly, which I think Craig McCracken kind of ended things badly with, especially how you see, like, some of his tweets on there. Craig McCracken was told by Disney because they thought, let's end it after 2 seasons. So, yeah, poor Wander. He even pitched for a 3rd and 4th season. Anyway, third question is, would you hang out with Wander and Sylvia? Oh yeah, I would definitely like to hang out with them. Let's move right along to Fire Tools, who asks, what would happen if all the major characters from Wander Over Yonder, being Wander, Sylvia, Hater, and Lord Dominator, transported to the Space Dandy universe? I honestly think Dandy would be trying to hit up Dominator for her number, and probably getting melted. That'd be fun. Anyway, thank you for that question, Fire Tools. Moving on now to Andre Partridge, who asks, what would happen if Lord Vader invaded Beach City and meets the Crystal Gems? Lord Hater would get his ass promptly kicked and thrown out of Beach City. What will happen if Lord Dominator hung out with Queen Vexus from My Life as a Teenage Robot and Queen Tyranny for an evil girls' night out? Oh yeah, Queen Tyranny from Duck Dodgers, which is also another great show. That would be great. That would be, it'd be kind of like with Beerus, but instead they'd be having an evil tea party. At the same time, they would be talking about, instead of the men they've slept with, it would be the planets they've blown up or the guys they love. It would be how many people did you kill? How big is your empire expanded? Stuff like that. Third question: what will happen if Wander and Fuzzy can't talk? What if Wander and Fuzzy Lumpkins squared off in a banjo contest? Oh man, that would be like Banjo Hero. It would be like the ending to Guitar Hero 3 where you have to play the devil, and it would be like that. Like they have to play they have to play The Devil Went Down in Georgia on banjos, and they're just playing, and like the sound of their music is like tearing up the landscape, and everyone's freaking out. But I don't know who would win. So thank you for those questions, Andre. Moving on now to Darth Nerdum, who asks, Wander Over Yonder Transformers crossover, G1 Transformers. Maybe having that Wander, Wander and Sylvia find themselves on Cybertron during the war between the Autobots and Decepticons, and Wander, being Wander, tries to make peace with both between the two factions, but we all know that that's not going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, staying with that question, Darth Nerdum. Moving on now to Shockwave Spider, who asks, what would Lord Hater think of the following egotistical villains, as such as Mojo Jojo, Invader Zim, Doctor Doom, Jack Spicer, Starscream, Skeletor, and Lex Luthor? He'd be like, you guys are idiots. I'm the greatest in the galaxy. Wait, why are you all pulling out blasters? Uh-oh. Second question. If you could write an official canon origin story for Wander, Sylvia, and Lord Hater, how would you write it? I don't know what I would do because we kind of already know Sylvia's origin. Lord Hater's, I think it would be, I don't know about Lord Hater's either, and, Wander, maybe having that Wander is the last of his kind, and that's why he's so happy and so helpful, because, he was at a dark place when his people were wiped out, and now he just wants to spread happiness to the galaxy because he knows he'll never get that happiness. And third question, I already answered a favorite episode of the series so far, like I said, the cartoon. And moving on now to his question. Thank you for this question, Shockwave Spider. And moving on now to Rohab Thomas. Could you describe what your... could you describe your reasons to Lord Dominator for major developments we learned from her beginning from Season 2, why she's trying to destroy the universe? Like I said, I already answered this question before. I kind of want her to be kept in mystery, but if anything, I think she's just like in the words of abridged Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Of course, Wander would be like, oh, that's not very nice. Of course it isn't. I'm fucking evil. That's how I kind of see it, anyway. So final set. So thank you for those questions. Oh wait, you got one more. Also, what do you think of Wander and Sylvia and Steven Universe game? What would they think of each other? I think Steven and Wander would be really good friends, and I'd love to see Sylvia and Garnet get into an arm wrestling contest. That'd be cool. So, final set of questions. Sorry about that. Yeah, final set of questions come from Brony Gamer. Yeah, Brony Gamer. And he asks, what would it be if Wander Over Yonder crossed over with the Powerpuff Girls? That'd be hilarious. I would love to see, Blossom and Wander hang out. Maybe even have Buttercup try to dig through the hat, or Blossom trying to figure out the science behind the hat. And also, I think they would try to keep Sylvia as a pet, which she would not want. Second question, what would happen if Wander and Sylvia crossed into the Star Wars universe? As I said before, Wander going to get choked by Vader. Third question, with the series coming to an end, do you think Lord Dominator will take over the galaxy, or will Wander save the galaxy? I think, yeah, Wander is going to save the galaxy, but I don't know what the fate of Dominator is going to be like. Is she just going to forget her memories and just hang out, go date Hater? Who knows, really. Anyway, so I think that is all the questions. Once again, I want to thank everybody for sending in questions, but if you weren't, if I didn't answer someone's question, that usually means they were marked as spam or didn't have it in the list at all, so I want to apologize again, but also I want to thank everybody for enjoying the Q&As. Hope you all had a lot of fun with all these, and once again, hope you all enjoyed these, and I will see you guys later.